Well, as I keep saying in my videos and experiencing personally, as well as uh, temperature wise, I think that would be called thermodynamically. My thermodynamic experiences have been that there's no heat in this unit and that there's no heat in the baseboard pipes. And because the landlord has refused to address the heating issue over the last 4 or 5 weeks now, since the heating season started on September 25th, when they are required to start providing heat when the temperature goes below a certain level outside, I had to go to the hardware store and purchase this really cool infrared uh, temperature gauge. I guess you could call it a thermometer, but it's a little bit more sophisticated than a basic thermometer. So you point it at something and it tells you what the temperature is of that item. So I can't even see that. What does it say? 75. So the headboard of my bed is 75 degrees right now. Okay, good to know. So right now I'm pointing the thermometer at the cold baseboard. And what is the reading? You can't even see. 75. Okay, well, I guess it's not that cold, but let's wait until 4 a.m. and see how freezing cold it gets in here. But this thing is really cool. I spent $70 on it, so it's not cheap. But again, it's been so crazy in terms of the weather outside over the last 10 days. It was 77 degrees last Wednesday. It was 75 on Thursday. Then it was like 32 degrees last Monday. The temperatures have been fluctuating wildly over the last 10 days. And so calling inspectional services and having them come in here to do a temperature reading when it's 75 degrees outside is kind of useless. However, I do need to know exactly how cold it is in here and how cold it gets so that I can then use that as a basis for any further complaints or calls to inspectional services, who are really the ones who put the no heat situation on the map by doing their own temperature reading and then issuing a citation. So it is approximately 47 degrees outside right now. It is, as you saw, 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday, November 12th. And I just spent $69 on this lovely gadget right here, which seems to be working fairly well. So that's just for the record. I went to the hardware store on Center Street, which is basically like Jamaica Plains version of Main Street. And they have a couple of cute hardware stores, and there's one that I tend to go to more than the other. And they sold me this lovely temperature gun. It's an infrared temperature gun. I'm just going to call it a temperature gun because it's really way beyond a thermometer. Thermometers, are those little stick things that you hang on your planter outside or stick in your mouth when you're having a fever. This is way beyond a thermometer. So this is very sophisticated, seems to be working okay. I'm assuming it's been calibrated. I don't know. Maybe I need to calibrate it. Maybe the temperature reading is off. Obviously, just because you have an instrument that's supposed to measure something, it doesn't mean that it's accurately measuring it, right? If it hasn't been calibrated, then it could be measuring something that's completely different than what it's supposed to measure. So you got to calibrate your instruments and make sure that they're accurately measuring what they're supposed to measure. Maybe it's not 75 degrees over by the headboard, You have to calibrate your instruments. I've worked in labs for 18 years, and sometimes your readings are off, not just in terms of thermometers or thermostats, but all kinds of other diagnostics and instruments and lab results, right? You run an experiment and you get these weird results. Well, maybe your experiment didn't measure what it was supposed to measure. Maybe one of your variables was off, right? So I don't know if this is accurate and if it's been properly calibrated, but I do know that when I point it at something, I get a number. Whether or not that number is accurate, I would have to check the owner's manual and see what I need to do to ensure complete accuracy in the readings. That's just a scientific method, right? So 75 degrees. Okay, I'll just have to go with that for now.